Apps can do a lot of cool things. You could order dinner, gamble on your favorite team, and track your health. You could even get a mortgage. One click and you can be approved. I'm not sure by who or what country they're in. You deserve more from the mortgage industry. At AnyMac Home Mortgage, we believe in the need for live human interaction during a very complex process. The kind of service and guidance which an app simply can't provide. Our customers are more than credit scores and income documents. They're individuals and families who live in and strengthen our communities. Their story is our story, and that story begins in a home. Chris Sawyer is an expert on providing superior customer service and in meeting the mortgage needs of current and future home buyers. With over 18 years of experience in the industry, Chris is able to help customers migrate through the home buying and home financing process by using his wealth of knowledge as a well-qualified mortgage professional. And best of all, Chris is located in Cromwell, Connecticut, where he has helped hundreds of clients in Connecticut, Massachusetts, and Rhode Island make their dreams of home ownership a reality. Visit chrissawyer.any-mac.com. Email him at csawyer@any-mac.com or give him a call, 860-878-8730.
Chris Sawyer, NMLS number 39345, corporate NMLS number 338923, AnyMac Home Mortgage, an equal housing lender, American Neighborhood Mortgage Acceptance Company, LLC, DBA AnyMac Home Mortgage, LoFi Direct, Connecticut First Mortgage Correspondent, License Lender, Broker Number ML 338923, Massachusetts Mortgage Lender and Mortgage Broker License Number MC 338923, Rhode Island License Lender, License Number 201128110L. Call for additional details.
I actually really liked that opening, so that's why I enjoyed it. All right, here we go. Roe v. Wade could go away. The leaker is trying to make it stay. It was leaked to cause a rise in the base. Suddenly, abortion is shoved right back in our face. Could it go or will it remain? Could this all just be in vain? Will the court actually overturn it? Will the SJWs riot and throw a fit? It could actually happen the way the court sits. It's a lose-lose for them either way it fits. If they overturn it, the Dems will go nuts. If they don't, the right will want some butts. Here's the story, folks, and it's really okay. It's up to the states to decide. Let's keep the feds at bay. I would never get one, and I don't want anyone else to either. But who am I to tell them what to do? I'm not their boss or a god. In fact, I'm neither. I want to say this once and for all. Do what you want, just don't drop the ball. There are thousands of people that would love to have a kid that can't have their own, and you can't do what you did. Every life is precious and should be cared for, loved and protected, and so much more. Welcome to Divided We Stand. I am Jim Battisti, and as always, that bleeding heart over there is Joe Aguirre. Hello, Joe. Let's get right into this. All right. I know it was a weak poem, but everybody needs to know that I'm just getting over COVID now. So that's why we weren't there last week.
And I'm currently suffering from it.
We did not give it to each other, by the way.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
But yes, that's why I sound a little funky. The rhyme was a little weak this week, but next week I'll try to pick it back up. But let's get right back into this. All right, Justice Alito, right? Let's talk about this first. First and foremost, the 6 Republican appointed judges didn't just sit in a room one day and say, hey, let's try to do this. There was an actual case brought to them that brought this up to light. And
there's actually several
this.
cases before them in regards to this. Absolutely.
Right. I do want to bring up one in particular, and I'll mention the state in a little bit here. But first and foremost, Roe v. Wade. We need to discuss what Roe v. Wade actually did. Because if it's overturned, does it mean that abortions are banned? Absolutely not. 100%.
No, it would mean they would lose their federal
absolutely
protection.
not. Correct.
Right.
They would actually, that's all it means. They would go back to the states' rights, and the states would be able to decide, and they would be able to make their own laws. So that's all Roe v. Wade does. So let's not panic, everybody, and say that Roe v. Wade means, the end of abortions, because it doesn't. And I waited specifically for this moment to bring up the state of Mississippi. All right. Because if anybody would think that a state would ban abortions right off the bat, it would be like Alabama, Mississippi, one of those states.
Yeah.
But let's calm down, people. All right. Let's not panic. Let's not throw gasoline on a freaking match. And because Mississippi is asking to reduce the amount of time before you can ban abortions to only 15 weeks. 15 weeks, people. That's 4 months in a week. You have 4 months in a week to realize that you're pregnant, make a decision, and then go about your business from there. You still have the right to terminate up to 15 weeks. That's 4 months, 1 week. I got to reiterate this. I'm going to reiterate it a bunch of times because 4 months and 1 week grace period. Yeah, that's not a ban whatsoever. That's hardly even restricting it from what it is currently. I mean,
yeah,
that's not panic here, people. All right.
First and foremost, you do know that the way they determine pregnancy is it's like your last period, like plus 2 weeks is how it's determined. And this is the point of contention here, Jimmy. 15 weeks, 20 weeks, however many weeks we're talking about, you could go 8 weeks and have no idea you're even pregnant, which limits the amount of time that you would have to decide what you want to do, right? You're going to go see your doctor. I'm going to have an abortion, set up an appointment. It now greatly cuts into the amount of time that you would be able to seek an abortion if your state still permits it. And you still decided that you wanted one. So that's the issue at hand. And this is where here's where the problem is. Here's where we're going to find a problem, because there's two ways to look at this. There's the religious version of this, and there's the scientific version of this.
Hold on, because you're missing a third, because I'm looking at it in the third option. I'm looking at it in the third way.
What's that?
So you're 100% right. 8 weeks it could take for you to realize that you're pregnant, right? But you're leaving out one important aspect with all of this conversation. We leave out one very, very, very important aspect, and that's called personal responsibility, right? So now we're deciding that you have zero responsibility, none, to your own health, to your own body, to realize that you're promiscuous and you might get pregnant if you don't use a condom, or it could happen on accident, or it could be a married couple could happen on accident.
Happens but now a lot with married couples.
But now you're taking away all personal responsibility. Fuck it. I don't care. I don't need to worry about that because I have 8 weeks. I have 15 weeks. You know what I'm saying? So what happened? What happened to any kind of personal responsibility, Joe? Is there
That's
any
what an
more
abortion
in the world?
is. It's a personal responsibility.
No.
It's deciding to take care of something that you don't want. What do you mean waiting? We just discussed this a minute ago.
Decide that, you know what? Maybe,
if you don't know,
you
don't know that you're pregnant at 8 weeks, if you don't realize you're pregnant until you're 10 or 12 weeks, again, 15 weeks isn't enough time. Also, and I'm sure we'll talk about this a lot tonight.
It takes 4 months. 4 months to realize that you've missed 4 periods.
Well, you wouldn't have missed 4 periods in 4 months. That's not how it works. Again, listen.
It would have taken 4 months to realize
I want to say, listen, that's probably the number one problem here is that people like you who don't understand women's biology, you're married.
I don't have any kids. I've
clearly never asked your wife
whatsoever.
You clearly never asked her. You just said she would miss 4 periods in that time. That's incorrect. You
You
wouldn't
know what
miss
the
4
frig
periods.
I meant, Joe. There's
No, I
zero
know what you
personal
meant, but again, a lot of
responsibility. You are
people don't know the difference.
You are absolutely letting people get away with whatever
You
the hell
guys
they want
are
with zero
you guys are
responsibility.
also
Zero.
mistakenly under
I am
the
not bringing this
impression
into a God
mistakenly under the
freaking
impression
conversation.
that people are
I am bringing
using
this into a
abortion
personal
as
responsibility. Why?
you're
Why is there
confusing.
zero?
You guys are under the impression that people use abortion as birth control. And that's
Hold on.
probably
I
the
don't think
most-
I've ever said that.
Oh yeah.
I don't think I've ever said that.
You
I don't
just
think it was
you
ever
were
in my
just
freaking rhyme.
suggesting that promiscuous people could end up pregnant.
And I also said,
And I'm telling
people
you,
could
statistically
accidentally,
speaking, more
right?
married women have
I said
abortions
that,
than
Joe.
unmarried
I
women.
covered
Right.
all my bases. I covered them
But
all.
I would take this a step
don't
further,
cherry pick
and I would
call me
say
a bad guy.
this isn't anybody's fucking. It's none of your fucking business.
I agree.
What anybody does,
and I said that in
their
my
body.
poem. Did I not?
Plain and simple. Well, yes.
Okay.
But you're.
I'm not even talking about that, Joe. What I'm talking
What are you
about
talking
is
about?
personal
responsibility isn't for the Republican Party to decide.
You're right. You're 100% right.
The overwhelming
for every freaking person to decide, and maybe they should
overwhelming
have some.
factor.
That's what I'm saying.
The
I'm not even
overwhelming
bringing
factor
politics into this.
That's driving this is the conservative right. It is. Take a look at the numbers. The only people who even give a shit about this at all anymore are white evangelical Christian men who are obsessed with sex. I mean, obsessed with where people are sticking their dick. I don't understand that. They're the same people. They're so worried about. They're so worried about pedophiles
honestly.
and stuff and homosexuals.
You're so
and I can't help but
ridiculous,
think
though.
this is such a deflection by these sexually oppressed people. I think many of them closeted homosexuals who are afraid to just be themselves because they're afraid of God. And so they try to change the laws of the land because of that. I find that repulsive. Stop worrying about what people are doing behind closed doors. It's none of your business at all. I can't even believe that this is still a thing.
Okay.
That there are people who dedicate their whole lives to worrying about whether or not people abort fetuses.
Are you done?
Not by a long shot, but I am
Because
for now.
you're arguing something I've said. You're arguing exactly what I said in my poem. You're yelling at me about exactly what I said. Like it's none of my business, right? I said that.
Yep.
Right. I'm not God.
And
I'm not their boss.
As Sketchy pointed out, both Mitch McConnell
Right.
and Steve Scalise, among some leading Republicans, want to ban abortion completely. Marsha Blackburn, Senator Tennessee's taking it a step further, Jimmy. She plans on having any sort of birth control banned for anybody who's not a married couple.
Do you honestly think any of this is going to pass, guys?
Yes.
Honestly. No, it's not.
That's what
It's
that's their
absolutely
stated
not.
goal. That's their stated goal, and you're going to excuse it by it's not going to pass. Nobody thought that they would break precedent and flip a 50-year-old court case over, but they're about to do that too.
Okay.
So let's not pretend they can't.
Okay,
because they can and they will.
Okay, so you're going to hypocrite us again, right? Where I can't use the slippery slope because it's stupid, but you're going to use it. Got it. So number one, right?
You got to use the slippery slope where it actually applies, and it applies here.
It only applies
the difference
to Democrats,
between
right?
the difference between your silly slippery slopes
Here
and this one is
it's silly for
this would be.
Republicans.
Listen, Jimmy. I'm going to explain this one time, and I'll say it slow so you hear me. This is not a slippery slope one way or the other. By setting a new precedent, let me tell you something. If this happens, this is going to be cited in every court case going forward forever where someone's going to try to get something overturned. The whole idea of following the rule of law and precedent, which all of these people in their nomination hearings said that they would respect and follow, clearly aren't going to. Every single one of these cases, every case going forward, they're going to bring this up. And it's going to give the Supreme Court carte blanche to not follow precedent and to do whatever the fuck they want. So, yeah, that's a real slippery fucking slope. Like an actual, not like if we let gays marry people, we'll want to marry animals. That's an idiotic slippery slope argument. This is one that actually has some bearing because it's literally again, James, they're supposed to follow precedent. You can't just no, we're gonna not follow the rule of law and go however we want. You're not supposed to do that. That's why we have these Supreme Court nomination hearings, so that we can get these people to testify that they'll do their job properly.
Okay, I let you speak for a very long time.
Yeah, so you got 6 liars. Let's go. Here we go.
6 liars. Okay, number one.
You got 6 people who said that they would follow the rule of law who aren't. So that's what I call a liar.
Are you done? Can I speak now?
Yes.
Okay.
As long as you acknowledge they all lied.
I am going to say this.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah, they all said they were going to follow stare decisis. You're 100% right. They all said that on the stand. But anyways, you're right there. So let's get down to brass tacks. In my opinion, and this is just not so humble Jimmy Battisti, Roe v. Wade was ruled incorrectly and unconstitutionally. And it's not the abortion thing, right? Again, I'm not trying to take away anybody. I'm not trying to say I'm for or against abortion, right? I don't care. I don't. I said that you have the right to do with what you want to do with your body, right? I believe that. I'm pro-choice. You guys, I've said this multiple times, but Roe v. Wade was decided incorrectly and unconstitutionally because it took away the rights of the states, which the Constitution says you can't friggin' do. It has nothing. I'm not talking abortion, Joe. Don't jump on me about abortion. I'm talking about, this is a broad general statement that covers Roe v. Wade. The states has the right to govern themselves under the Constitution of the United States, period. Would you agree with that?
Without violating our rights, correct. And when they do, that's when the federal government jumps in, as Sketchy Petchett points out with Griswold versus Connecticut, where they were trying to ban birth control for married couples. So that's a real thing. That's why the federal government has to intervene from time to time, Jimmy.
Now, again, not talking about abortions. Right? I'm talking about the rule of law.
Yep.
So in my opinion, and it turns out a couple other people's, Roe v. Wade was decided incorrectly because
you guys don't get to decide
because
that.
it took.
But you don't get to decide that.
Do you want me?
That's not your call
Joe,
to me.
I'm not going to talk anymore. If I let you talk for like 3.5 minutes straight with 0 interruptions.
That's not true, but go ahead.
So, overturning Roe v. Wade is not, in my opinion, overturning any abortion laws. None. It's overturning the federal government's
law. Yeah, it's the federal government
handing it back to the states where it belongs, according to the U.S. Constitution.
Okay.
That is what I've been saying. That's all I've been saying. Because again, look at it. Would I ever have an abortion? My wife and I were offered that chance when my daughter was supposed to be born deformed or deaf or whatever, but they offered us that chance. We looked at each other for about a millisecond. We're like, fuck you. No, that's just not who we are. It's not who I am. I'm never going to. I don't want anybody else to either. But who the hell am I to tell you what to do? I've said this from day one, Joe. I have been consistent as gravity, and nobody here, not least of all you, can say otherwise. Right? I have fought with my blood, sweat, and tears, literally, for the right for people to choose to do what they want to do, to say what they want to say. I'm not ever going to tell somebody what they can and cannot do. Right? That's not for me to decide. I'm looking at it in a completely legal, completely constitutional way. And in my opinion, now I'm not saying I'm right, Joe. I've never once said I'm correct. And I've always said this is just my not so humble opinion. Roe v. Wade, whether it was for abortion or whale sperm collection, I don't care, was decided incorrectly.
Let me give you another one. Let's stay away from abortion for a minute. Let's say that someone brings a lawsuit from the great state of Georgia, and they would like to reclaim their slaves from their ancestors. right? My family legally owned these black people. We'd like to get them back. And they go to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court overturns the 13th Amendment, reinvoking slavery in this country. Are we having the same conversation, Jimmy? Because I'll tell you right now, if they if they overturn this federal law, they could do that. That would be up for grabs. Somebody could sue. The Supreme Court could be like, the 13th Amendment was a mistake, and that would. They just did. Are you serious? They can do what they want, Jimmy. Again, the idea is to follow precedent, and as soon as you don't follow precedent, because you decided a case 50 years ago was erroneously decided.
Ignorant.
Well, it's the 14th Amendment. That's what this falls under, the right to privacy.
Completely ignorant. The 14th Amendment gives the right to an abortion.
The right to privacy, yes, it fell under. That's literally what they ruled it was covered under. Your right to privacy, that the government doesn't have the right to involve, whether it be your state government or your federal government, doesn't have the right to get into your personal medical history.
I agree wholeheartedly.
So again, by deciding that the 14th Amendment doesn't apply, what's to stop them from saying the 13th doesn't apply?
Because they can't change an amendment. They can't down an amendment.
You could change. You could rule an amendment unconstitutional. Right. That's literally the Supreme Court's job.
Divided we stand, listeners. You heard it here first.
That's the Supreme Court's job.
The Supreme Court just got rid of the 14th Amendment.
Jim, I mean,
you just heard it here, exclusive.
Jim, I know you're having a rough day. I don't know why, but
Joe.
That's not what I said.
Gonna sit there.
Give me a break, dude. Did I just say they struck down the 14th Amendment? Did I say anything? Did I say anything remote? What I said was
the Supreme Court
fell under the protection.
You said they just did.
It fell under the protection of the fourth. Well, again, they're deciding what rights fall and don't fall under an amendment now. So you're giving them carte blanche to decide going forward, Jimmy, that certain things are protected under the second. I know you'll bitch and freak when that happens, but that's what you guys are setting yourself up for. And that's what I'm telling you. Abortion aside, this is
gravity, man. I don't
super.
Bet you about,
no, dude.
About all
I bet you when they eventually start banning weapons, which you know they're gonna do. You know that shit's coming. They're always working on it. It'll happen. You'll be screaming and crying, and I'll be there with you.
Nope.
I'll be there with you because I see the difference, and you guys don't. That you guys could bitch for 2 years about having to wear a mask or having to get a vaccine. They're going to put us in camps, and then to see this and to not even see the parallel just goes to show what I've been saying about how ignorant everybody on the right is. And you get upset when I say that, but how do you not see this?
We're so ignorant.
How do you not see the parallel here, Jim? How do I not see the parallel?
Because I told you how. I'm not looking at it from an abortion standpoint. I don't give a shit.
I just explained it from a law standpoint, and you disagreed with that too.
It was unconstitutional.
I'm glad that you think it's all right for the Supreme Court or for the government to take rights away.
They're not taking any rights. See,
they are
being intellectually dishonest.
Jimmy,
you're being intellectually
there's
dishonest.
going to be about 34 states that are going to ban abortion in some form or another.
So the Supreme Court controls those states. That's what you're saying.
No, Jim, that's the whole point. Jim, we had a civil war because they outlawed slavery, and those same states, states that are upset about abortion, left the union because they wanted slaves. Yes. That's why states' rights is bullshit, and you know it. It's a bullshit argument.
It absolutely is not.
It's a bullshit argument. It's a bullshit argument. It doesn't stand up. You can't violate somebody's civil fucking rights. We've been over this a million times. You can't violate people's civil rights. The government federally has to impose laws like this because of that specific thing.
Now you're getting into the discussion, of what is life.
What?
Now you're getting the discussion of what we need to define what a person in life is, right? Because if you're just allowed to just kill random,
it was when breath came out of your nostrils. When you're born, when you're actually born. Yeah. When you get a social security number, that's when you're a citizen of the United States.
You're so full of shit. You don't believe that at all. All right. I do want to bring this one point up, though, Joe. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you know that right now, this very second, according to the American Adoption Agency, or AmericanAdoptions.com, there are 2 million people waiting to adopt a baby that can't have children. 2 million. Right? That's an astronomical amount of number of people that want to have children. Now, I'm not even going to go into the numbers of how many kids are aborted each year because, again, that's not what my argument is. You want to, you know what I'm saying? That's I don't care. What I'm saying is, where would I have been? Where would I be? I was adopted. How many other people are out there were adopted? Where would we all be if somebody just decided, yeah, screw it, right? And I'm not saying that's a bad or a good decision. All I'm saying is, think about it, right?
That's what being pro-choice is, though, isn't it?
Well, I am pro-choice, so
that's what I'm saying, though, Jim.
I'm not talking to us. I'm talking to people out there.
No, but I am talking to us, and I'm talking about everybody. Is we're pro-choice, and the choices are you can give a baby up for adoption. I think that's a great idea. I think telling someone they have to carry a baby for 9 months and giving it away is a different animal altogether. But it's
I'm not
option.
telling anybody. What?
No, I know you're not.
Okay.
Listen to what I'm saying.
Well, you've been awfully combative tonight, Joe. I'm just saying.
You started it, not me. Listen, I'm cool. I'm cool, and I agree. You and I agree on this. But again, I'm not pro-abortion. I'm pro-choice. Again, the choice is being you can adopt, you can abort, you can keep. I don't care what you do with it. I'm pro any choice you want. However, and I think this is important. I was talking to a buddy of mine who's more or less right wing. He's one of those like I'm not into the news kind of guys. He saw a meme about it was something to the effect of I love that we live in a country where people are okay with babies being murdered at birth, torn to shreds at birth in an abortion, but they're offended by people using the wrong pronoun. Now, I know we've talked about this. You can't get an abortion after the baby's born. That's murder.
That's not called abortion.
That's just straight murder. If a baby is born and then you're that's a murder. We don't allow that.
I don't know why I'm laughing at that either.
It's funny because it's absurd and it's funny. Listen, 43 states completely ban any third trimester birth. The worst of those being the state of Texas, where even if your fetus is dead inside of you, the doctor can't do anything to make that baby come out because any unnatural removal of the baby is considered an abortion. So they can't do anything. They have to send you home and let you know when the dead baby has passed through your body. That's the worst of the worst. That's how they do it in Texas. Now, in almost every other state, the only possible way you can get abortion after 37 weeks is if the mother's about to die. Now, I've seen the other big push from Republicans, Jim, and I don't love this. They don't believe in any exceptions. Even if the mother's going to die, it's like tough shit for her. Imagine,
whoa. There are 2 states.
Look it up. Hold on.
There are 2 states right now.
That's what Mitch McConnell and company want in every state.
2 states, though.
I understand that, Jim.
Colorado is one of them, by the way.
They want that in every single state. No exceptions.
What? They don't get to make that choice. Thank God all the other states get to have their own choices. Mitch McConnell doesn't get to speak for them.
Mississippi, Alabama, Kentucky, they're all in lockstep on this.
No, they're not, dude.
You'll see.
Mississippi.
You'll see.
The court case in front of the Supreme Court right now is to get it reduced to freaking.
Dude, you get it to 15. How quick could you turn it to 8
weeks? Why would they just do it now?
To 8?
Don't do your slippery slope shit.
Let's
talk about the facts.
Very arbitrary number. Also,
by the way, which you neglected to mention, Joe, right? What you neglected, Mississippi is allowing abortions for rape. Incest, not only for,
thank God, they're so kind for that.
But
wow.
And the health of the mother. Only 2 states, Joe, Only 2 states don't allow
It should
for
be
that.
0 states.
It's not my decision to
Yeah.
make, and it's not
Again,
yours.
Mitch McConnell's
It's
calling
Colorado
for a
and West
national
Virginia.
ban on
Those are the
abortions
only
completely.
2. You would think it'd be Alabama, but it's not. You would think it would be Mississippi, but it's not. It's Colorado, which is one of the far,
I
it's the
agree
very
with
middle
you, Joe.
state.
The
And then
conservatives are
West
playing with
Virginia.
fire here, opening up Pandora's box that they won't like when the liberals do the same thing on gun rights. I see the parallel. Thank you for seeing that. And this is what I'm saying. I'm going to be on your side when they come for the gun rights in a few years. I'll be with you, Jim. I'm not going to give you any bullshit arguments. I'm going to back you up because I believe in rights. And I don't believe in the government deciding they're going to take shit back, especially. I can't get behind that.
So if we're going to talk about this, I'll tell you this right now, and this is recorded. If the government comes down and says we need more universal background checks, cool. Why not keep people safer? If the government comes down and says, look, we need to ban freaking automatic weapons, cool. I understand that one as well. If the government comes down and says, let's see here. I'm going to try to equate this, really, right? You're just not allowed to own guns. That's not cool, and that's never going to happen anyways.
Sure, but I'm saying now, Jimmy, in, say, 5 years from now, a liberal Supreme Court, one that Joe Biden's packed in light of what's happened here, all hypothetical, I'm saying, so bear with me for a minute. Let's say you have a majority.
That was funny, by the way.
Thank you. A majority liberal over conservative. Now, they could cite this law, Jimmy. They could cite this specific case and say the Second Amendment, when it was written, that was a mistake.
Hold on. Hold on.
Times.
Now you're being intellectually dishonest.
I'm
now
not.
You're just being. No, you are.
I'm not. I haven't even made my point yet.
Supreme Court
I haven't made my point yet.
No, but I know. But you're starting off
intellectually
dishonest.
I haven't even made the point yet. I don't even know.
To overturn an amendment.
I don't even know if you know what I'm saying yet.
But you said, go ahead,
Jimmy.
You're
again, the argument being.
Go ahead.
Somebody files a lawsuit. Again, the argument being the only reason they had a Second Amendment was because we were an occupied nation by the British. And that in a civil society, and maybe you'll even cite in Britain and Australia where guns are outlawed, citizens don't have the right to own guns. Now again, you start to make the argument. You start chipping away at these things. They've been doing that since 1972. There shouldn't even be lawsuits from the Supreme Court challenging Roe v. Wade. It's settled law. It's been settled law for 50 years. So again,
Agreed.
Jimmy, the idea that we're going to go back and just start arbitrarily deciding we didn't like shit that happened before, that's not how this is supposed to work. I think the Supreme Court is acting outside of the bounds of what the job is.
I think the Supreme Court is acting exactly in the bounds. The Supreme Court is there to determine and to interpret the Constitution and hold us to the Constitution.
Right.
That's exactly what they're doing. If a decision was made if a decision was made unconstitutionally, that's what they're deciding. They're okay. Once again, all right. Please don't interrupt me. Please. Once again, they are not deciding whether abortions are banned or should be banned or should not be banned. They are not deciding whether abortions are legal or illegal. What they are deciding is if the Roe v. Wade was decided correctly and in law with the Constitution. And what they're finding, because I've read it, is that the Roe v. Wade decision was made unconstitutionally because it took away states' rights. Doesn't even say anything about abortion.
Again, you could say the 13th Amendment did the same thing, and you could battle it out in court, and you could try to have the 13th overturned.
Okay, here we go. Go right ahead, Joe.
Yes, you could. You could do that, Jim. That's how court works. That's how lawsuits work, and that's how shit ends up in front of the Supreme Court.
What?
And then they decide, now that was a mistake, so we're gonna. That's because of their personal feelings towards something, they're gonna decide to change a law. That's not right. I promise you, that's not right. Not right.
What amendment are they striking down? What amendment are they getting rid of?
I didn't say they were getting rid of an amendment. I'm saying
That's your slippery slope.
A right that was granted and protected under the 14th Amendment that the Supreme Court today, 50 years later, and again, this has been challenged a few times. See Casey versus Planned Parenthood. There's been other challenges to this. No one else thought it was unconstitutional until Small Dick Alito stepped in, bro. Again, these people are obsessed. They're so obsessed with the sex. They're so freaked out by it. It's sexual repression. There's something wrong with some of you people. You need help. Stop worrying about that shit. This isn't about God. God didn't put the baby in there. That's not how biology works. I mean, this is stunning. Again, the government's going to tell you that you have to raise and have a baby?
Nope, absolutely not. Absolutely
well, Jim,
not.
if you don't have access to an abortion in 8 weeks' time, you're fucked. So, yes, that's exactly what it is.
Because that's what the
There's also
going 8
there's
weeks.
also
I
states,
just told you Mississippi said 15. I just told you that only two.
Jim, watch what happens and how quickly states react as soon as this happens.
Are there going to be states? Yes. Is Alabama going to bring it down to 8 weeks? Probably.
Yeah.
Is Texas going to bring it down to 6 weeks? Probably. Is New York going to let it just continue unfettered? Probably. Is not? So
somebody has to.
Who cares? I don't give a shit, Joe.
Right, because it's not. It doesn't affect you. Why would you give a shit? It's not anything you care about. Why would you give a shit?
I have a wife, and I have.
I hope your kids never get pregnant before they're ready.
And I will teach my kids personal responsibility.
Whatever that means, that's good.
Right? That's more important to me to teach my kids. Look, if you have sex, you could get pregnant.
Then you have to have the baby, or you're going to jail.
Okay, you're never gonna let me fucking finish, are you?
I'm helping.
No, you're not.
You're just helping you.
Not. Why? All I'm saying is this: you just completely forego any kind of responsibility whatsoever. And this is where we are in this country now. Nobody has any personal responsibility. Nobody has
legislate it.
To legislate. I'm talking about myself. I'm talking personal. I said this 100 times now. I'm not talking government. Stop talking government.
Your personal responsibility and mine might not be the same thing.
Why not?
I don't know. You think that if you get pregnant, you have to have a baby, and I don't. So we're different on that.
I never said that. What I said was I will teach my child there are consequences, and you have to accept those consequences, whatever they friggin' are. And I will tell my child the personal responsibility portion of it is to, mitigate those fucking consequences. It's not difficult. Why do you want to live in a world where there are no consequences, where everybody can do whatever they want with no consequences?
Because I don't want the government involved in people's lives. And for some reason,
I say government?
That's what you're all about now.
When did I say government?
Well, who's going to be enforcing this abortion
personal
ban? Right.
I've said Jimmy, 100 times, Joe.
All right.
100 times.
To your genius point, I've never been in any way associated with an abortion, so fuck it. I guess I don't give a shit. What difference does it make? Again, my whole stance on this is very simple, and throw the abortion thing out the window. Throw the slavery thing out the window and the gun rights. This is about the Supreme Court deciding to go back and change something that they don't like. I don't think I just don't see that being the right precedent to set, because every court case going forward is going to be like, you did it that time, we could do it to this. And I'm telling you, I know we talk about this, but this literally is an opening to the slippery slope. It's a precedent set in the Supreme Court that every court will cite going forward for fucking ever. Bad idea. They should have. Listen, they should have banned that shit 50 years ago.
Wouldn't you want an unconstitutional?
But it's not unconstitutional.
Okay,
it's not unconstitutional.
We can argue about that all day long, right?
Yes, I wouldn't mind doing that.
Okay, tell me how it's not.
Because it's protected by the 14th Amendment, your right to privacy. You don't need to know who's having an abortion. I've been saying it for like 5 years on this show. I don't even know why that's a stat that gets released. Why do people even know that?
14th Amendment. There's nothing in there about abortions, dude. Nothing. Now,
because Thomas Jefferson didn't make Sally Hemings his slave have abortions. They didn't know what that was, Jim. It's a new era
that's
problem.
a good reference.
Tell me what it says about cars in the Constitution.
That's a
what
good
does it say about wearing a mask on an airplane in a pandemic? I'll tell you what it says. Dick squat. Nothing. It's a very limited document. It says not a lot of stuff at all. There's a lot of things that aren't covered. That's why we need the fucking courts to decide what falls under the Constitution and what doesn't. They decided your right to medical care falls under the right to privacy under the 14th Amendment. That's how they got there. So deciding that it doesn't belong there because they don't say abortion is a stupid, shitty argument. They didn't know what that fucking was.
Okay, how about this? How about
the
this
Second
argument?
Amendment doesn't mention AR-15s because it wasn't a thing.
How about this argument then? Right?
Yeah.
Medicare is still a state right. Medicare is still a lot of Medicare abortions paid. So, okay, I wanted to get to this point before we take a break real quick because you always hammer on the intellectual dishonesty of the right. And I'm going to agree with you on one thing. You hear that? So I hear on the right all the time that taxpayers are paying for all these abortions. 1% of abortions are being paid by taxpayers, and that's through Medicare, people. Okay. So we can cut that crap out right now. Right. So my taxpayers are not, right? It's the freaking, what was the act that Joe Biden actually championed? It was one of Joe Biden's and the Hillard Act or something like that says that you can't have federal funded abortions. But anyways.
Yes.
Anyway,
the Hatch. It's
the Hatch
yeah.
Act. Yes. Thank you very much. All right. So we need to stop that. No taxpayer money is not going towards abortions, people. Except that it is via the states. The states
the
have
Hyde
the right.
Amendment. Hyde. H-Y-D-E. My bad. Yep.
The states actually have a right to decide, right, whether they can use Medicare funds to do abortion or not, to provide abortions or not. Now, 48 states don't allow it. Or no, excuse me. 48 states do allow it up to a certain point, right?
Yeah.
48 states. Yeah. 48 states allow Medicare to pay it. That's a state right. And that's a good one.
Yep.
So you agree with that one.
The Hyde Amendment.
So
listen, I like
so
it.
Now,
hold on.
Hold on. I'm not done.
I just want to clarify. It bars the use of federal funds to pay for abortions, except if it's saving the life of a woman.
Correct.
Or it's the result of incest or rape. So that's the only way you're supposed to be able to use it. I'm with you, and I agree with you.
Right. So, but if you keep reading the Hyde Amendment, it actually does give the states the right to use Medicare, state-funded Medicare, right? And a lot of states do. And it's not to the extent that, and that's like a 2%, by the way. That's like a 2% increase over the federal numbers to the state numbers. That's hardly anything, right? So, but that's a good one. That's a good state thing to have. But this one isn't. So don't cherry pick. If it's good to have state rights, then it's good to have state rights. Because if it was up to the Hyde Amendment, they wouldn't have any money. They would get zero money. But it gives the states the right to decide. So they do. So states do help, and states do help lower income families with medically assisted abortions.
Do you know how much an abortion
Not a lot.
is?
Yeah, it's like $383 in the first trimester, $853 in the second. And
Yeah,
don't ask me how I know that. But
It's
anyways,
super. No, dude,
not the point, not the point.
it's so inexpensive.
Not the point. The point of it is, well, we're talking 110,000. There was 110,000 in the state of Colorado in 1 year that were state funded. I mean, that nickels and pennies do add up. But anyways, that's neither here nor there. But that state right is good to go because it helps you guys. But state rights in general are bad. So I'm trying
state
to
rights
decide,
that discriminate
I'm
or prohibit people from
which ones are good and which ones are bad.
Well,
Because
the state
according
rights
to
that
me-
wanted to keep black people as slaves, we didn't like that one, and we wanted that overturned. I mean, that's reasonable.
According to me, this guy, not you, but
Yeah.
this guy, all of them are good, including abortion. I don't want to see the problem with it. I don't. That's what the Constitution was set up to do.
Well,
that's
tell
how
me
you create.
what is the Constitution?
That's
How
how
does
you
the
create-
Constitution define marriage?
It doesn't. It's
Correct. There's no right to marriage in the Constitution. And yet we decided for about 45 years that gay people didn't have a right to that thing that's not even in the Constitution. So you want to talk about cherry picking, bro? That's how this shit works. Instead,
what
states'
are you
rights.
talking about?
What's I'll tell you what states'
What
rights
are
led
you
to.
talking
State
about?
rights led to state after state, again in the South, saying no, gays can't get married. That's what was happening. That's why, again, there had to be a federal law put into place to allow that to happen.
You understand? You're talking about
states' rights issues generally have to get solved by the federal government when you're violating people's civil rights. It's unfortunate states continue to violate civil rights. If they didn't, then the federal government would never have to get involved, and we'd both be happy. We would.
I don't see how I am cherry picking anything. I've been consistent as freaking gravity.
So then you're in favor of the 3/5 Act. You thought that was cool. You thought that slavery was fine.
What are you talking about?
States' rights. Those were states' rights. That's what literally the South fought to keep that in place. You're fine with that. You think they should have just kept it.
Are you honestly saying
that's a state right and you love states? You just said you like all states' rights. I'm asking you how you felt about slavery. You didn't like that one. I don't assume that.
Joe, let's not do that.
Did you just say that you love all states' rights?
Hold the fuck on, dude. Seriously. Because you're gonna make me mad. Don't do
you
that.
Said that you like all states' rights.
Do not freaking do that.
But that's what you said.
Yes,
so I'm saying, but even you'll find there's some that you don't like, right?
No, I am.
That was a bad one.
Rights, right? And if a state today, right now, if Alabama said, you know what, slavery's legal again, do you honestly think it would? Let's not be stupid.
If they thought they could get away with it, I think they totally would. And you'd be, but you're saying you'd be all right with that.
Number one, if a state said, hey, let's reinstill slavery.
Yeah,
I'd be okay with that.
Okay. That's what I said. And you just said you're mad at me for saying that, but now
you're
saying
that's not what you said. You said that I'm in favor of slavery. That's exactly what the fuck you said.
I said you said you favor all states' rights, and I said so slavery. That was a states' right that literally had to be overturned by the federal government.
Yeah, go ahead, man. I would love to see Alabama bring back the Confederate flag as its own flag and start bringing slavery back. I wonder what would happen now.
States' rights.
What do you think would happen?
I think a lot of people would move to Alabama, and I think a lot of people would try to move out of Alabama.
Really? You don't think there would be a freaking uprising you don't think there would be people bashing the Capitol building down whatsoever?
The Supreme Court's about to overturn a 50-year-old law, and a lot of people are like, that's fine. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure what would happen. I don't know what would happen.
Don't be stupid.
I think people would be like, states' rights.
If you're gonna,
do whatever you
we're
want.
going to take a break because Joe is just being ridiculous tonight. I swear to God. He's living in cartoon land. Go ahead.
I am a little bit.
And then we'll come back to Joe's 2 minutes of bullshit.
Do you have a 401k and some savings for future retirement, but don't even know if it's enough to live off of? How much is enough? How often are you thinking about it? The team at JPEX Financial Group can help set your mind at ease. We specialize in creating strategies in the planning and managing of your financial, educational, and investment needs. We help clients pursue their investment goals with sound financial strategies. You deserve a personal, tailored plan. Lasting, meaningful, and open relationships are the foundation of our practice. You've worked hard for your money and should feel confident in your investment choices as you make decisions for your financial future. Your goals are our goals. We are dedicated to your needs and hopes for your future. Visit our website and give us a call at 860-430-5397. Securities offered through Raymond James Financial Services, Inc., member FINRA, SIPC. Investment advisory services offered through Raymond James Financial Services Advisors, Inc. JPEX Financial Group, LLC is not a registered broker-dealer and is independent of Raymond James Financial Services. JPEX Financial Group is located at 78 Eastern Boulevard, Glastonbury, Connecticut.
I want to make one thing very clear before I begin. I am not advocating for abortion rights. I'm pro-choice. I believe you should have every option on the table when deciding your own medical decisions. I have COVID. I'm vaccinated. I'm boosted, and yet I still got it. I'm on day 4. It's been a mild case at best. I've been consistent when it comes to the COVID vaccine. I say, ask your doctor if you should get one, then decide what's personally best for you. Okay. I think we know where most people stand as far as the government telling you what to do with your body. Conservatives bitched about it for 2 years and yet don't seem to understand how this relates to the recently leaked draft. It appears to show the radical right-wing activist judges ignoring precedent and the rule of law. And it's funny, we only call Supreme Court justice activist judges when they're ruling for the other side. You ever notice that, Jimmy? Now, what exactly does it mean to be pro-life? Because you'd think the side that was, pro-life would also be for tighter gun control, in favor of health care, and to provide all American children and really any child who lives in the United States the care and education they need. But that's not the case at all. As a matter of fact, conservatives make speeches about how children are the future and that incest rape baby could go on to be a Nobel Prize winner or the quarterback of the Florida Gators. They don't mention that it's more likely he's going to grow up in poverty and live a life of crime. More than 3/4 of Americans don't get a paid leave when they have a baby. 1/4 of moms are back at work 2 weeks after they give birth. Make it easier for them to have the baby. The Republican Party continues to baffle me. And the fact that anyone still supports this stuff is mind-blowing. They don't practice what they preach. It's a shell game. The idea is to make the other guys seem like the extremists so you look sinner. You talk about history and tradition without any context. They've redefined what freedom is. An extremist group in Michigan plotted to kidnap the governor. Not the one that was criminally charged with the poison water in Flint, the other one. They were going to kidnap that one because she wanted them to wear masks so they didn't die of a virus. They complain about cancel culture and censorship, but they're the ones doing all the banning. It's a my way or the highway situation. I have news for you. There's a lot of things that aren't mentioned in the Constitution. Rights and privileges that we fought to win in this country. What's the extreme court going to do next? Decide the 13th was an erroneous ruling? Or the 19th, the 10th, the 5th? Pick your favorite amendment. Protesting outside doctors' homes who provide abortions protected by the First Amendment. See, no one sees the irony here. The Supreme Court's been chipping away at abortion rights for years through lawsuits by southern states like Mississippi and Texas. Places where, I shit you not, they actually have billboards telling dads not to have sex with their daughters. States' rights. Oh, boy. It's easy to say that if you don't live in the South. They don't believe in sex education for a reason. Young and dumb, Jim. You know what I'm saying, huh? No exceptions. That's perverted. Now, while the right loves to cry like a newborn left in a firehouse about their liberty, they don't extend the same courtesy because of entitlement. Yeah, another thing the right bitches about and deflects on the left. They hate when I bring up cakes. We have separation of church and state. Our forefathers did that for a reason. You know that book you guys never read? It's not the law. You can literally take Leviticus and shove it all the way up your ass. I believe in liberty and freedom for everyone. I'm not a hypocrite, and I don't need some bullshit book to tell me right from wrong. This is a Pandora's box, this ruling, and I don't know how we're going to recover, and I promise you, things are only going to get worse if this draft becomes reality. And here's my last thought. You can kiss that red wave goodbye. This is the last straw. Feminist liberal women are already organizing. They've been doing it since that day. And let's be honest, nobody organizes better.
That was well done. Well done. well done. I actually agree with the red wave thing, man. This couldn't have come in a worse time for the Republicans.
This is like something right out of the Democrats' playbook, Jimmy. It's like a guaranteed election windfall in the fall, and you're like, let's fuck this up somehow. How could we do that?
Democrats were like inroad, like on the way to routing to Democrats. And now I don't need.
Bro, inflation's at 8.2%. Gas is $5 a gallon. Groceries are expensive.
It was a walk. It was a walk.
Dude. Yes.
It was a freaking walk,
yes.
people. And so obviously this is why the leaker did it, and well done to that leaker, because mission accomplished, honestly, right? But you did mention something that I wanted to talk about with this. Do I agree with protesting outside anybody's home? No, I don't. It's private property. You shouldn't do it. All right. First and foremost, I want to say that. All right. Protesting in general, love it. Absolutely love it. Should do it. Need to have it. All right. I will say this, though. There is a federal statute prohibiting protesting outside of the house of a Supreme Court justice. Right. And it's, whether you agree with that, Jim.
I agree with it. People shouldn't try to unduly intimidate a justice to vote. I do agree with that very much.
Now, do you think, Joe? Do you think the White House should be out there saying, "Yeah, they should be out there"? Because the White House is now telling people to break federal law, and they can't do that. And I'm only saying this for a reason, and you know why I'm saying this. I'm only bringing this up for a reason, right? That's a crime. You can't tell people to commit a crime, and the White House did that. So if the Republicans
wait, we're not talking about January 6th, right? Okay.
No.
I'm sorry. Joke.
If now it's a big if, the Republicans win in November, I'm making a prediction on this show right now. Right. And here's my prediction. Sketchy. Here's my prediction. If the Republicans take control of the House and the Senate, they're going to try to impeach Joe Biden to get back for Donald Trump. Jim Jordan will probably frickin' lead it. And this is what they're going to use. They're going to use this misdemeanor because by telling people to break the law, you break the law yourself. Right. You're inciting. I'll figure it out what the exact law is, but this is what they're going to use. And it's a freaking tragedy because now we're in this endless cycle of we're going to try to impeach. And nothing's ever going to get done again. Right. So that's my prediction. Whether it comes true or not, I hope it doesn't. I think it will, but you heard it here first. God bless. We need to freaking stop this crap. We need to stop it. It's getting out of hand.
I haven't seen, and if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I haven't seen Joe Biden say he thinks people should be protesting at Supreme Court Justice's house. If he did, he shouldn't be. Now, the other interesting part of this federal statute is it's illegal to picket or parade outside a judge's home with the intent of influencing the judge. And so, I guess this is going to come down to, is this thing already settled or is it still up for right? Is it still up for debate? At which point are you trying to influence? So I think there's a fine line. Again, I mean, if Joe Biden's telling people to do that, or anyone for that matter is telling people to do that, you're right. That's terrible and that's illegal and it's against the law. I do think protesting outside the Supreme Court got made a little more difficult because they put some barriers up.
Oh my God.
Prohibit
camp out there for a month by all means.
Yeah, but they're making it harder. And I think that's why, and again, I don't agree or support this, but they left the Supreme Court area where they were initially protesting because they weren't able to get close enough to the building.
They put the safety barricades up that are still see-through. So it's not like it's a black screen, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And they're literally on the side at the sidewalk of the court steps. They're not prohibiting anything. Now there are laws governing protests. You have to be X number of feet. You have to get permits as well sometimes, right? So you do have to be a certain number of feet away from the door, right? You can picket line in front like 35 feet, whatever the friggin', I think it's 50 feet to be honest, but that's fine. And that's where they put the barricades up.
Yep.
They didn't like nope, you're relegated to this little section of the park.
Yeah.
They didn't do that kind of crap. They didn't put like jersey. I mean, they just put security shields. That's all it was. I understand what you're saying. I don't see them prohibiting the protest there at all. So,
but you saw that Ilhan Omar tweet that the Supreme Court literally allowed for abortion protesters to protest outside of doctors' personal homes. Again, it's like, do you guys never see?
No. I said that.
I know you do because you're smart, but I'm saying like Republicans do shit like this. It's like you don't see them. This is gonna bite you in the ass when it flips, and it always flips.
Why do you?
Right?
Hold on. So I said that, right? Anybody's house, and I meant that in front of the doctor's house. You don't do that to private property, right? Nobody's freaking house. Whether you could be Joe Biden, you could be Ilhan Omar. You don't protest in front of somebody's freaking house, right? That's private property. Right? I've said that, right? I'm a Republican, Joe. I'm a conservative. Why does every other conservative and Republican in the world not think like me? And why are they all bad people?
Are you asking me that question?
Yeah, I'm actually doing it because you say, well, you not, but all the other Republicans, do you not think that there is a 10% of like the 10% radical right that's really freaking talking like this, and then the 80% of the right is just like, I don't give a fuck, just leave me alone? Because normally that's 80% of the right is just leave me the fuck alone. You know that, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Because you keep blanketing the statement like it's all Republicans and it's all conservatives, and it's not, Joe. It's the 10% of the radical, just like the 10% radical left. And so say that all the time.
This is funny. Not? I think you're going to appreciate this. Well, last night I was doing Crimes, Conspiracies, and Beyond. We actually talked about you quite a bit because we were doing a nice, quiet show. We were talking about that the prison guard that ran off, Casey White, and
we should have.
We talked about that. We talked about Dave Chappelle getting attacked, and the show was a little on the shorter end. And the host was like, "Hey, Joe, real quick, just explain this Roe v. Wade thing for us, quick." And like 45 minutes later, I was done ranting, and he was like, "Everybody, thanks for listening to Divided We Stand." And we had a pretty good laugh, but I told him about you and how much I enjoy working with you and what a smart guy you are and how easy I find you are to talk to. And then I don't think that there's enough people on that side that are dealing with your kind of intelligence and who can look at most things and like see the parallel and be like, yeah, that's ridiculous. Right. I mean, again,
there's definitely, and we bash each side, and I do every week. I bash the Republican side for being, stupid. And every week we bash the Democratic side for being stupid because we both, and this is why you and I can be friends, Joe. Right? If we can disagree, which everybody should be, that we both realize that it's just stupidity going on to the highest levels on Capitol Hill, and they just need to get back to friggin' reality.
Sketchy Peasant doesn't ask for much. He asked about this Hakeem Jeffries thing. It's only $1.41. It's on Twitter, and while we were talking, I pulled it. Permission to play this.
Hit it.
And if Justice Thomas really wants to deal with bullying in America, or this problem of people supposedly unwilling to accept outcomes that they don't like, I've got some advice for Justice Thomas. Start in your own home. Have a conversation with Jeannie Thomas. She refused to accept the legitimacy of the 2020 presidential election. Why? Because she didn't like the outcome. And so instead, she tried to steal the election, overthrow the United States government, and install a tyrant. That's bullying. That's being unwilling to accept an outcome because you don't like the results, because the former twice impeached so-called president of the United States of America lost legitimately to Joe Biden. How did she respond? Instead, she said the Bidens should face a military tribunal in Guantanamo Bay on trumped-up charges of sedition. You've got to be kidding me. And lastly, let me ask this question of Brother Thomas. Why are you such a hater? hate on civil rights, hate on women's rights, hate on reproductive rights, hate on voting rights, hate on marital rights, hate on equal protection under the law, hate on liberty and justice for all, hate on free and fair elections. Why are you such a hater? And you think you can get away with it, escape public scrutiny? Because you think that shamelessness is your superpower?
Mr. Chairman, a point of order.
Here's a news flash
Mr.
straight
Chairman,
from the House Judiciary Committee.
Point of order.
Truth
Time,
crushed to the
gentlemen.
ground will rise
Time.
again, and truth will be your kryptonite.
Point of order. Oh my God, dude, Hakeem Jeffries. That was crazy, dude. I don't love that, Jimmy. I don't love that, honestly. I don't think that's the time or place on the Senate floor. Yeah, dude, Sketchy, glad to play that. Wow. I hadn't seen that before.
Neither have I.
I get what Jeffries is saying there. I don't know that doing that on the
Senate
floor.
floor?
I don't think that's the place for that.
To
He's
bash
not a
somebody's
senator,
wife?
so the congressional floor.
To
I
bash
don't love
somebody's
that.
wife like that? Come on. Like, again.
No, listen,
again,
hold on.
You're bringing personal freaking attacks
No,
on
he's
people?
not bringing. Hold on, he's not, because what he said about Ginny is true, but that's not for debate there in that setting. Talking about that guy's wife,
Okay.
because
Hey.
her activities are beyond what he does as Supreme Court justice. I think that's dirty. You want to have a press conference afterwards, and you want to bash him like that and his wife. I don't think
Yeah,
the
go
place
right
to
ahead.
do that is. Oh,
Hey, Joe,
that didn't make me feel good at all.
Not at all. I did want to bring up one more thing with you, right? So
Yep.
I know I have a good friend of mine, and I won't mention his name or anything like that to protect the innocent. He's extremely religious. Extremely. He's a conservative. And he would welcome you in his house any day of the week and twice on Sunday. Feed you, clothe you, bathe you, whatever the hell you needed, Joe. Would you do the same for him?
I would. And you know what the difference between me and him is? I don't need God or any book to tell me
Neither
I should
does
do that.
he, Joe.
I know
Don't
he
say
does.
that. No, he
does.
doesn't. Hey,
He's very religious. And
number
he follows,
one,
he
Joe,
follows what they're
you
telling
don't know
him.
this, man.
I don't.
I do.
Okay.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
You don't
well,
know this, man. I do. He
I've
doesn't
never,
need a book.
I've never
Stop,
needed the
please,
fear
please.
of God
I'm begging you, stop.
to be good.
Stop before you insult him.
You asked me the
No.
question, though.
I'm. That's right. Now you're going off and insulting him, which has nothing to do.
Well,
with
you
it.
insulted me with the question. Of course I would do that.
Hold on.
Mhm.
How many other liberals would?
I would assume all of them. I would assume a lot of them would.
Knowing he's pro-life, knowing that he's a conservative, knowing that he's a friggin' Republican, I doubt it. Now, before you say anything else, please, he doesn't need a friggin' book to do that. He's just a great friggin' guy. He would do that for anybody, doesn't matter, time or day, right? And the fact that you think he's stupid because
I think he's stupid for following a book from 2,000 years ago that's full of bullshit. Yeah, I do.
that's you have any idea how incredibly insulting and arrogant that is of you?
Very, very, very insulting and arrogant. Yes. And it took a lot of research and study on my part to come to that conclusion.
Hold on a second, Joe.
Yeah.
There's no study. What study are you talking about? Honestly.
Oh,
Okay,
there's
hold on. Hold on.
Do you want to
It's
borrow some
called
books?
faith,
I've got books that
brother.
I'd love to share with you about
The same exact
religion.
thing. The same exact thing that makes you not believe
Mhm.
is the same exact thing that makes them do believe.
But see, I used to believe, and then I stopped believing.
And that's fine. And that's
Yeah.
your choice. But why does it make people stupid? Like this is what I'm trying to understand. Hold on. Don't let me answer this. Let me ask this whole thing. People don't agree with you. They're stupid.
No, I didn't see people that disagree with me are stupid. I think people who read a book that's 2,500 years old and take it as like the rule of law, I think that's stupid.
How do you know they're not taking it as inspiration like it was meant to?
Well, because they're trying to pass
it.
all these God laws.
Not my friend.
And that's why.
My
But
friend
I'm
isn't,
sure he
and you just
supports this.
insulted him, right?
I'm sure he supports all this, though. I'm
Not
sure
my
he's thrilled
friend,
that they're doing this.
And you just insulted him, called him stupid, even though he has master's
I'm sure he's not a
degrees
stupid
and all
person, but
that
he
stuff,
believes something that's
right?
completely nonsensical and based
He
on
believes in something
myth. Yeah.
because he wants to. because he needs to. And you want to take that away from him.
I don't want to take it away
No,
from
you
him. I
are.
just
You
think it's
are.
stupid.
No, exactly.
I don't want to. He can have it. He can have it all he wants.
Like, I don't understand. Like, I don't come in here and I don't insult anybody that doesn't. I don't come in out here,
Jimmy,
and I don't
this is
insult
what's
anybody
driving.
for
This
believing
is
in
what's
Wiccan,
driving the
for believing in, like,
anti-abortion, the
trees.
anti-gay movement, the anti-transgender movement. This is what's all that's being fueled is the religious right. So again, you can keep that shit at your house. You can enjoy it on Saturdays or Sundays and the third Thursday of every month or whatever.
This is where I'm going.
But stop bringing this into my courthouse. Stop bringing this shit into my legislative buildings. I'm not interested.
I honestly think it's all religious people.
Yes, that's driving this.
Religious.
Yes.
I'm religious, Joe. I believe in God.
Uh-huh.
So is it me? Or is it the 10%?
Well, it's at least the 10%, and it seems like the other 40% are just like, yeah, whatever, that's fine, I guess, because God said so. And I just strongly disagree with that. Yeah. Religion suspends people's critical thinking skills. There's a reason why our founding fathers said separation of church and state. The majority of them were not religious because they were really smart guys who were in it for themselves. They weren't worried. They knew by granting religious liberty, they would just whatever.
Joe, I'm going to tell you right now. Like, I come on here every week, except for last week because we were just hurting. And I listen to you insult people every friggin' week. And it's getting to be too much, Joe. Like, I try not to insult people for their beliefs. Right?
You literally asked me if I would do for your religious friend what he would do for me. I found that to be insulting and
I
idiotic
apologize
because
because
better.
it was going to be a follow-on question that you wouldn't let me.
Well, you asked the question, so I answered it.
Yes, and then you went on this tangent before I.
You also set me up to make me call your friend stupid. You knew what I was going to say. Why did you ask the question if you didn't want to hear that?
I didn't know if you would actually.
I think it's stupid. That's my personal opinion. Why are you upset by that?
Because you insult people.
I'm not talking to anybody in particular. I'm saying if you believe in shit that's not true, I don't think that's smart. I don't. Sorry,
it
shouldn't dictate your life. I don't know that it's not true.
Them, Joe.
Maybe it is.
Then that's all that fucking matters.
Great, but it doesn't decide the fucking laws.
It pisses me off.
It doesn't get to decide the laws.
One more time, Joe. Do not call these fucking
decide
people
the laws.
stupid. Do not. Do you understand me? Don't call these fucking people stupid. They're not stupid. I guarantee you they're not stupid. Do not call these freaking people.
Don't ask my thoughts on it.
Either.
Then don't ask me what I think of it.
You said it in your freaking monologue, Joe.
You asked the question.
Because you said it in your monologue. Right?
I said what in my monologue? That they're stupid
book and stupid this and stupid that.
Yeah, it's a stupid book. It's a book full of bullshit and it's a book full of wrong information.
Do not come on here and insult me like that every freaking week. And I've asked you to do it, not to do it, Joe. I've asked you to do it. And yet you still want to insult freaking half a billion people that don't agree with you. Like, do you understand that, right? You don't agree
Jim,
with it.
my opinion on religion is it's stupid. I'm not saying that people that follow it are stupid. I think they're making a poor choice.
And we want to talk about fucking haters here?
Yeah.
Come on. That's fucking ridiculous, Joe. It's ridiculous, and that's nothing but pure hatred on your part.
I don't hate them. I just think it's stupid. That's all I'm saying. Not sure what you're upset about.
That's insulting, and it's not. I'm not going to allow it, Joe. No more.
Separation of church and state. Keep this shit out of the political discussion, and you can have your religion all day. I don't care.
If you want to go back to the beginning of the tape, I'm not the one that brought religion into this. I told you I don't want to talk about the religious aspect of it. But you have to acknowledge the religious aspect of it. That's the driving force behind it. So you want to be. Even though
there's one demographic that's anti-abortion. I already told you who it is. Look it up. If you don't know the facts, you don't know the facts.
I don't try to insult anybody. I try to bring. I'm just tired.
Really, you said that women have abortions as birth control. So I mean, who's
when
the
did I say
fucking
that?
idiot now? I think that's you.